Most entrepreneurs spend months perfecting an offer only to hear crickets when they finally launch. But what if you could know whether your offer will sell in just 7 days? Today's guest, Lauren Peters, has built a six-figure business teaching women how to rapidly test their offers, skip the overthinking, and start selling immediately. If your offer can't convert fast, she says scrap it, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Lauren Peters is the founder of the Art of Daily Sales and the Profit Salon, where she helps women entrepreneurs simplify their offer creation and marketing systems to generate sales daily. With a background in branding and tech, Lauren combines offer strategy with practical AI tools to help clients validate offers fast and grow without burnout. Lauren, I am so excited to have you on the podcast. We're like kindred spirits. We're trying to make sure we help people grow without burning out. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and today the thing we're really going to talk about is helping people validate their offers. So let's start at the top. How do you define offer validation, and why is 7 days like the magic number for you?
Offer validation is really, really important when you're an expert or someone with a passion and you have this drive in your heart to want to teach someone something or sell something online. Let's say a course, a small PDF, something that might cost $5 to $27. Now, where offer validation comes into play is just because you think you have a good idea doesn't mean that people are going to buy it. So if you've ever had this experience where you put something out and tried to gather interest and you got crickets, I have had that myself many, many times until I learned about offer validation. You put that idea out in a certain way. There are multiple ways you can do it. And 7 days, like we said, is the sweet spot. And you'll get to know immediately whether people are actually going to buy it. And you prove that because they actually buy your idea in a pre-sale, and then you can create the idea later after you've proved that they want it.
I love it. So you don't create the product at the beginning, you actually sell it. And then if people buy it, then you go and create the product.
Right. And for some questioning ethics, it is actually very ethical because you're very transparent about the fact that this is a pre-sale. This is my expertise. I want to teach you guys, but I just need to know if you guys even want this in the first place.
Yeah, and that's huge because I have found most of the time people try to sell it like they're like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for 20 years. Oh, show me some proof. Show me your clients. And you're like, well, it's a new thing. It's like, oh, so you could have just said that from the get-go.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so when you start to do the offer, what are some common mistakes coaches and consultants make when validating the offer?
Some of the mistakes they make is we've already touched on this a little bit, but they'll get very excited about it. They'll say, this is going to be such a hit because I've seen this work transform so many people's lives. So one of the biggest mistakes is they'll go and they'll spend hours and hours creating that offer without even asking if people want it. Another mistake that they might make is overcomplicating the offer, right? Like if you're trying to focus on something really small on the front end of your funnel, something that is really cheap, affordable, $22, you can go in and apply hours to it, or even say that this is this big 6-week long course, when really when people are spending $22, they're not necessarily wanting to spend 6 weeks with you. They don't even know you. They don't even know if that you can help them solve their problem. So what that opportunity is for people is to not completely overthink that front end offer and know that you're really just trying to solve one very small problem for people and giving them an opportunity to say yes to you, even though they've never even heard your name before.
Yeah, those small little problems is what I have found in most coaches and consultants. They don't know how to do that. It's like they're like, okay, well, it's this problem plus this one and this one and this one. It's like they add like seven little problems to it, and it's not like no, just one small problem. So when you work with your clients, how do you help them think about just one small problem?
Well, I can do this by writing up a PDF for you guys, but I can also do it one-on-one with you on a call, but the process is essentially the same. I get you to write a little bit about who your ideal customer is, or people that you've worked with in the past that you've really enjoyed, that you know you can help them solve, whether one problem or 50 problems. And then we write down the entire experience that your ideal customer is having from, let's say, before they even realize their problem exists, to their realization moment, to them finding the solution, to them applying the solution, to them having the transformation. That's called a customer journey map. And so we can look at the customer journey map and see actually that that's not one problem that they're experiencing in this entire experience. There's usually going to be 50 problems along that way. Now, if you can find the one in the very beginning, what a lot of people call is the first domino or the bleeding neck problem that they're having. I did not coin that term, but if you can find that problem that they're having that is so small and so specific, something they're willing to spend money on now, even if they don't know you, then that is the best place where you could be solving that one problem for them. So that's how we find that.
Yeah, and lots of times when I've heard both of those terms, the bleeding neck problem, right, or your pain point. The thing that I have found super helpful is like asking a simple question is like, what's the thing that's keeping you up at night that you can't solve? And many times people are like, oh, I can't solve lead generation for whatever reason, right? Like I'm just using this for coaches a lot, but like I just don't know how to generate leads. Like, and then I ask the next question, like, well, what's stopping you from generating leads? And typically they're like, oh, why I don't have the tech stack, I don't have this, I don't have that. And then I just keep asking why. I end up finding that there's a lot of mindset issues that they get stuck in. Lauren, what are some of those mindset issues that you find people get stuck in trying to validate their offers?
I don't have any like specific like one mindset, but when I am walking through someone through coaching, I just notice this pattern for all of them, including me. I really have this problem the same way as you guys do. So I
Yeah.
need my own mentors and my own coaches. But it's this mindset, this way of thinking that we're so committed to overcomplicating everything
Mm,
that when we overcomplicate whatever we're looking at, we can't see the simplicity of what we're looking at. So when we ask someone, what's your biggest problem? What's keeping you up at night? A lot of times they can't even name what that is. But let's say we go deeper and deeper and deeper with them and they finally name what it is. Just because you can name what your problem is doesn't mean that you have the mindset to work towards accomplishing and solving that problem, right? So my big game in coaching is how big is our awareness around what we're currently experiencing. And if you can see how much you're overthinking the situation and just be with the overthinking for a little while, then at some point you kind of get out of the overthinking and then you can look down on it and then you can see the bigger picture.
yeah. So you're trying to get them to sit with it and be objective about where they're at,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
huge for most of us.
Right. Because a lot of times I could, as a coach, tell you, you have mindset issue A, B, and C, but it doesn't mean you're going to see what I'm seeing. And so what I do is I say, look at what you're doing right now. And I go, what are you doing right now? And then be like, I'm overthinking. Be like, cool. Watch yourself overthink. And then they'll literally just sit there and watch themselves overthink for maybe like 5 to 7 days. And then they're like, I'm so tired of this overthinking. And then they actually solve the problem themselves and they figure out naturally how to get out of that. And then they start seeing their own solutions.
It's fascinating. I have found many times where the problem is people just don't give themselves permission to do exactly what you were just doing. And they need someone like we need it. I need it. Right. Like there are times when I literally was talking to my good friend Dan Sanchez. He's the co-host of the podcast with me. And, sometimes I'm like, I'm working through a problem and I just need him to just ask me a few questions. And I'm like, oh, duh. Like, yeah, that's the answer. Right. But it's just because we're so consumed with like navel gazing that we actually need to stop and just say, hey, let's look at this objectively. We're tired of navel gazing and like, let's look outside of it and then start working our way in. And we could typically find those problems. And that's what you do for mindsets.
Yes, and it's a great place when you can get to the point of being able to laugh at yourself in, let's say you're an overthinker and you just like you love the overthinking so much it's like your favorite thing to do and you just find a place to laugh at yourself, notice when you're doing it and then you can start seeing the patterns and how to get yourself out of it.
Yeah. Okay. So as you start to work through patterns, I think this is why you created kind of like the 7 day roadmap a little bit of just like, here's 7 days, here's this framework of how to scale an offer fast or validate an offer fast because you don't want people to overthink. So walk us through what's your exact 7 day framework? How do you set it up for people so that they can know what to start doing?
Of course. So we talk about speed and quality and getting things out very quickly. And I know we're going to talk about AI soon here too, but that's a huge component to why we've been able to get to the point of being able to validate something within 7 days, sometimes 5 to 7 days. So once we go through figuring out who our customer is, then we go through and look at the customer journey and we identify what that one problem is. Usually, to solve that one problem, we can come up with a series of angles on how us as coaches and marketers are going to say that we solve the problem, right? Because I could sit next to 3 other marketers and we all help people with their Facebook ads, but we can all say it 5 different ways, right? So there's an opportunity for you in this process to be able to do that, right? Like, I'm a coach, but how do I differentiate myself? Well, if I am a mindset coach, I can take this number one problem that I've found out in my customer journey, and then I can figure out 5 different angles of how I could tell them I solved that problem. And then this is where you can go to AI and say, help me brainstorm 5 different ways of saying I can solve this problem, or 5 different angles. What those angles turn into are your 5 different offers. Now, for some people, you can validate one offer at a time. You can validate 5 offers at a time. It depends on your budget, depends on your time, it depends on how quickly you want to see those results. So once you get your offer angle, you're going to, in the quickest way humanly possible and with the help of AI, get up a very simple landing page, put up your product and payment system, and then you're going to go into one of the ways I test in 7 days is with meta ads on Facebook and Instagram. And you could put up one very small and simple ad. And it's amazing what Meta is doing today to help us target the right people without us having to do too much. And then you press go, and then you watch what it does for 5 to 7 days. And now this is where you need to be educated on what kind of conversion metrics you're looking for in order to see this as a success or a fail. But yes, you can do all of that in 7 days.
Okay, there's a lot of gold nuggets there that we gotta hit on. First, let me just share this. I get no referrals to this thing, but I am not a good designer, right? So when people are like, "Oh, build a landing page," that's where most people get stuck, right? So I've done this a few times, not a lot, but I've used Gamma.app. I don't know if you've used that before, or then you could just hire it out. I mean, that's typically what I end up doing is like just hire it out to someone. I'm curious, what do you do for those people who get stuck on building a very simple landing page?
So in my back end, and a lot of people who teach what I teach, they usually have their templates that they've already pre-created for you. Because in the marketing world, there are best practices on how to get good conversions. And so there's what I can think of a top 2 type of templates that a lot of marketers use in their testing, because they know that if I take a stranger from across the nation in Seattle, right? I'm in Kansas City, and they've never even seen or met me before, and they see my ad, they click on my landing page, and within seconds, they decide if they're going to buy or not. So there are templates that are already out there, and I'm huge on templates, right? Like, I've been in design for 20 years now, and I still need to use templates because overthinking is really a thing.
Yeah, I'm so like I remember trying to overthink design when I am not a designer. I mean, you could look by my background, right? It's like very
Yeah.
office like, altruistic, right? Like, oh, you're not a designer, right? Um, but when someone just gives me a template, I'm like, ooh, click, 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 click. I'll just fill it out and I'm like, good to go, right? Like, I don't ask me about colors, don't ask me about anything. I always go to other people for those things. So, uh, design, you're using templates. That's great. When you're talking about the angles, so let's talk, you said 5 different angles, 5 different offers. Are you actually creating 5 completely different offers for people, or is it just like a different way that you're pitching it?
It could be. It depends on what you want to do, right? For me, in my own business right now, I've been testing 5 different angles for one specific offer because there is something I really want to teach people. I want to teach them, the very simple how to create an offer, how to use AI to create your offer, how to begin to validate that. Like, that's not really going to change for me as an expert. I could test a completely different offer, like a $5 meta ads creative pack, right? Like, I can make a bunch of Canva graphics on add creative images and just give it to you for $5. But I'm not there yet, right? Like, I want to test this one offer with many different angles. So again, it's up to you and where you are in your business. I do see 50-50 with people testing each one of those.
Got it. So it just depends on where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so walk us through then. You've talked a lot about AI, or referenced AI quite a bit. How are you using AI to reference and accelerate this offer validation?
So there's two ways. You can go on AI, let's say ChatGPT or GenSpark, and just start asking it questions. Hey, be my marketing strategist who is has worked with the top marketers in the world for the last 20 years. Here's what my background and expertise is. I would like to create a mini offer at the price point of X, and I want to help solve this one problem for this type of person. And then you can just have a conversation. And the AI is trained enough to where it can essentially walk you through that within minutes. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to create your own custom GPTs. It's a little bit advanced, but what a custom GPT is you can go in and you can give it instructions and you could say, I want you to be my mini offer generator. So I want to be able to come to you multiple times throughout the week if I want to create a bunch of offers. Instead of just chatting with it to create one offer for you, you program it, you just give it instructions on how to generate offers with you, let's say on a daily basis. And that's where you can get very articulate with how you want it to help craft the offer. And then regarding custom GPTs, there are people like me and other marketers who have actually created their own custom GPTs, and then they can just give those to you.
Yeah, and that one, if you guys want to know what Lauren's GPT is, go reach out to her, or maybe we could put it in the show notes if it's free. I don't know. You tell us, Lauren. Is it free? Is it paid? We'll put it in the show notes for people. Um,
Yeah.
Dan,
My
also go for it.
my GPT, the mini offer generator
Yeah,
and the validation and all that, that's behind my mini offer. So you guys can inquire about that.
there you go. It's a mini offer within a mini offer. It's Inception. Uh, but Dan Sanchez, he also has some chat GPTs that he's created out there. And it's awesome, right? To be able to do that. I think for a lot of people who are listening to this, they're probably beginners with AI. So like even just doing the validation prompts, just trying it out, it's gonna be huge. Now, I noticed they use two different languages here. We talked about an offer, so this might be like a high price end offer, and then you also talked about the mini offer, right? Is the mini offer just that one simple problem that we solve?
Yes. So actually, most offers should be one simple problem that people can solve. Because if you come in and say, I'm going to help solve all your problems, it's a little overwhelming for potential clients. And they're most likely going to choose your competitor who says that they're going to help them solve one problem. So people need to be able to wrap their minds around the problem that you're solving for them, whether it's a high ticket offer or whether it's a low ticket, small digital product. When I say offer in this conversation today, I'm generally talking about a small digital offer, whether that's $5 to $97.
Yeah, something that they could just get to know, trust, and like you.
Exactly. The thing that they find and they choose to buy from you that helps them solve their problem, even though they don't even know who you are.
Yeah. Okay. So they're building that. You're building that mini offer. They get to know, trust, and like you. And then, do you have like a back end for higher priced offers, kind of like an ascension ladder, or how do you typically do it?
In my world, the way I like to build things, yes. So let's say you come into my world or you become a client or a partner. I make sure that my partners already have a high ticket offer on the back end. But if you're more of a newbie and you don't even have a high ticket offer, what I want you to know is that when we're creating small digital products on the front end, you ideally want to eventually guide those people to buying a higher offer. So while I'll help you learn about the smaller things and the smaller validation and the small ads, my expectation for you, my wish for you is that you have something more expensive on the back end where people really get to enjoy your expertise and in a bigger level. And that also allows you to make whatever kind of revenue, income, compensation that you want beyond just the mini product. Because there's not a lot of people who make a good sustainable income just off of that small digital product. If they do, it might be like $2,000 to $4,000 a month, which is great, right? That's great. But if you have a family, it's not going to support a family. What the small digital products are for is to get people into your higher price things on the inside.
Yeah, and I'm curious from you, and at the time of this recording, Alex Hormozi just launched his like massive webinar, $100 million money models. I don't know if you watched it or were a part of it, but um, he always talks about giving stuff for free, like just throw as much stuff out there. How do you manage that where it's like give a lot, give a lot of value, and then also sell something that you could essentially find for free?
I love that advice, right? Give the free stuff. Gary V also says that, right? Value, 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 value until they decide to invest more time and money into
Yeah,
you. And then I also remember what Tesla did when they first came out. They didn't give the $35,000 car to everyone. They said, here's our $100,000 model. We're going to give it to a certain amount of people. It's going to sell out. And then after that point, we're going to create all of our smaller things after that. So what Tesla decided to do was let's load all the big committers into our highest priced product so that we can also get an infusion of revenue and profit to apply to the rest of our funnel, which were the smaller cars and whatever else they wanted to do. So, my opinion, as someone who's offering expertise and marketing your expertise, there is a spectrum, right? You can be the person who builds your business off of giving a lot of free value, but then there's also a very strategic position where you only charge for your highest price stuff and you don't have free stuff almost at all, and then you do that model. Then you can be someone who's a little bit in the middle or you go back and forth. For me, I'm a little bit in the middle because I do value free stuff, but I also know from my experience when I'm giving away too many free stuff and I'm not seeing that turn into revenue, that's also a problem, right? So you could take something Alex Hormozi says and says, give all the free stuff, but you also have to be able to have that luxury, right? Like sometimes it's time and money luxury to be able to just give free stuff all the time and hope that someone else pays for your bills. But you have to be the one to decide, okay, at what point am I going to give the more expensive stuff? For me, I decided to do a version of a free community that leads into a paid community, which also works very well for people.
yeah, I love that, and you're right because Alex. One of the things I always talk about is momentum, right? The way you get momentum is time and leverage, and if you don't have the time, right, to get that momentum, like you got to do something to speed it up. And I think Alex, a lot of people look at him and they're like, "Oh man, he's doing all these things." But man, at the inception, it was like 4 years in the making, or maybe 6 years now, since I've been following him, of him just posting consistently and just giving, because he's already made money that he could do that. But for a lot of coaches who are just trying to make it out there or trying to hit that six figures, it's a little bit difficult, right? It's like, I don't have a year to create that kind of content. They're like, I need something in the next few months to start generating income, which I love your approach of like the middle ground.
Yeah.
Um, Lauren, as we start to wrap up here, some people are listening to this and they're like, oh, there's a lot of little golden nuggets for them. What would be the next best step for them? Like, how should they start?
I would choose someone in your industry that you resonate with who has done what you want to do and start to study their marketing and start to study their funnels. But also be really realistic with yourself. Like we just talked about the Alex Hormozi thing. Like I can't study Alex Hormozi and then buy a $20,000 a month media company to help me do what he's doing, right? Be realistic with where you're at and where you can start. And honestly, if the person you're looking up to is, way beyond what you can afford as far as their marketing, then maybe try to find someone who's more on your level or maybe one or two steps ahead of you in their marketing to where it's more of a realistic goal that you can work up to. And the reason I say find someone is because if we don't really know what our marketing should look like for the business model we've chosen, then we can go years without really moving the needle. And so find someone where you're like, okay, I kind of like what they're doing. It seems doable. Investigate more about what their behind the scenes looks like, and then decide if that's what you want your business to look like. So that's where I would have people start. The reason why I say that first before create your offer, right? Because I want everyone to
Yeah.
create their mini offer is you can create a mini offer and be looking at someone else's business and do it completely wrong for how it needs to be done for you. So first find the person you resonate with, then go and start creating your mini offers.
Yeah, and that would be huge because then you could expedite the funnel process, so you're not having to make mistakes all the time. I
Exactly.
found, I remember I created a webinar that this was years ago. Uh, I created a webinar. I thought it was going to be a smash hit. There was hundreds of people in it, which was great for the first startup, and I think it converted like one person. And part of it is because I didn't validate one, the offer, right? And two, it was because I didn't have a proper funnel set up. Like I now I look back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have just followed like the back end, like pre-prep for webinars. I don't know if you've seen that before, right? Where you kind of like they watch a couple videos and then some post stuff. I didn't do any of it. I was just like, oh man, I'm a great salesman. I'll sell it off the webinar. It'll be great. Man, total dud. It was horrible. And I felt awful, right? But I love how you're just sharing that of just like, hey, find someone who's a few steps, not like I'm thinking Alex Hormozi again. I'm using this because I think he sold like $82 million worth of books, like 2.8 at the time of when I saw it. And people, I was texting my friend Dan, and I was like, people are probably going to try to mimic exactly what he did, but they don't have the audience or the expertise of where he's at today, right? So you got to like just find the golden nuggets of where
Right.
he's at.
Totally.
Um,
Another thing I would say to people is find someone in your industry, maybe even in marketing, who's up to date with what the most recent Facebook algorithms, Instagram algorithms, but then also what ads and what ads are doing. So, for instance, one of my mentors, he just went to a big conference and he came back to our community and said, here's what's hot in 2025. Here's what's not hot in 2025. And he even went to say, like, webinars right now, even for the top players, are getting no show rates like we've never seen before. And what they're seeing as the most successful to get new cold traffic are actually the mini offers, the mini digital products.
That's awesome. And even that right there is going to be huge for people. Like, okay, don't like spend all your energy on this, just focus on this, right? And that's more automated and that could scale more because once you have a mini offer, they could connect with you. And from the mini offer, would you push them to book a call or do you just kind of have a nurture sequence for a high end ticket product? How do you best see that working in 2025?
Yeah, it depends on your business model and how you want to spend your energy as a founder, as an expert, right? I'll really quickly say, I don't want to throw webinars out the door.
Yeah,
The whole like live webinar, getting show people to show up, that's what I was talking about. But you can easily create a pre-recorded webinar, like 30 to 40 minutes. It solves their one problem. You can turn that into just a training that is actually your digital product. So that's working
yeah,
too. Regarding nurturing people on the back end, it depends, right? Because I don't have anything, I have spaces for people to come in and become partners with me, meaning me and my team will go in and help you do your offer and we'll run your ads and all of that. And I only have space for 5 people at any one time, right? So for me, it doesn't make sense if you come into my funnel and I'm booking a call with you and trying to get you on the phone to become a partner. I'm so
yeah,
selective with those partnership spots that I don't need to set up calls with people. Where I am willing to set up calls with is if you want to pay me one time offer, $99 or maybe like $300 for me to look at your own mini offer that you've created for like 15 minutes. Yeah, you can buy that. I might go to that place regarding like how to nurture people. But right now, a lot of people are liking monthly reoccurring revenue. So, like communities, whether that's a free community or a $5 community a month or $27. I'm not saying you should go that route. Again, I'm always advocating for what's going to be best for who you are and how you're built, how much energy you have, if you're an extrovert or an introvert. If you're an introvert, don't do a community or make your
yeah.
community small. So it just depends on really how you want that back end to look that will support your business and your lifestyle.
Yeah. For those of you who are listening, Lauren and I were just talking about before we were recording how much of an extrovert I am. So I'm like, I always want to be around people. It's like, it's great. So like communities, like webinars, like, yeah, that's my jam. But I know for some introverts, man, that just burns them out. Like I remember one introvert, early on, I was trying to convince them like, hey, I think you should do a community. And I could tell right away, they were like, dude, I don't want to do that. I'm like, why not? It's going to be great. And that was my ego, right? Of just trying to tell them like this could work for you, and they had a phenomenal product, and it could have, but for their energy, it would destroy them. because they didn't want to manage a community all day, every day, right? And I'm like, to me,
Mhm.
that's fun. I'm like, I make new friends all the time, you know? So that is huge that they got to build a business that's wired within their personality, their energy. Um, Lauren, as we finally wrap up this conversation here, um, how can people find you? They might be listening to this and they're like resonating with everything you're talking about, and even want to know about your mini offer within a mini offer, right? Like, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Feminine Devotion. That's just my personal page, and I connect my business accounts through there. You can also find me at theprofitsalon.com or laurennicolepeters.com.
Perfect. And I'll make sure all that stuff is in the show notes. So, Lauren, thank you so much. It's been great to build this relationship with you and seeing all the things that you're doing. It's always awesome to meet other people who are helping other coaches. It's fantastic. So, again, for those of you who want to reach out to Lauren, go to theprofitsalon.com or Feminine Devotion at on Instagram. Correct?
Yes.
Perfect. And it's going to be on the show notes. So, guys, listen, if you're tired of spinning your wheels with offers that never sell, Lauren's 7-day validation method might just be your shortcut to momentum. You can find her again at Feminine Devotion on Instagram or theprofitsalon.com. Check her out or check the show notes and just start working. I don't want to see you stuck. I don't want you to feel like you don't have anyone there. So, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe for more strategies on scaling your solo business with smart systems, AI, and a lean team. Hope you guys have a great day.